What's up, everybody? This is Alon Jones. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. To everybody else, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about why Native Black Americans, ADOS, has low IQ. This clip that you just saw, when this movie came out, for the people who remember it, what were people saying about this actress? She became the white girl who could dance, right? And she actually became a popular interracial love interest after that in other movies because Julia Stiles was the one that had that flavor. In 10 Things I Hate About You, she played the nerdy bookworm type, but she could also dance, which was and still is considered kind of oxymoronic because people with the linguistic type of intelligence, such as the one that she had, being literary and poetic, they usually lack kinesthetic intelligence, which determines how in tune you are with moving your body. In this video, I'm going to review the different types of intelligences, but hopefully after this video, you'll see that it's not just one group of people or one race that claims certain intellectual capabilities. For instance, dancing. There isn't one race of people who can dance and another race of people that absolutely can't dance. It can be any one person of any race who lacks the kinesthetic intelligence that you need to dance well. However, the thing with these types of intelligences is some racial groups may have so many people, quote unquote, smart in certain areas that it seems like everyone in that racial group thinks and operates the same way. And that's just not how it is. So basically, for instance, not all white people can't dance and not all black people can. So there's a narrative out there that ADOS has low IQ. Not just black people, ADOS specifically. So some questions to think about. Who is it that thinks ADOS is stupid or has low IQ, and why? ADOS and some others are definitely distinctly intellectually different from those we consider very smart or having high IQs. There's a benchmark for intelligence, a standard that people are measured and judged by that was used for years. But the theory that there are different types of intelligences challenges that. In 1983, a theory of multiple intelligences was created by American psychologist Howard Gardner. He said that there's more to being intelligent than simply being proficient in language or math. And here's a short clip of that, followed by a rundown of the 9 types of intelligences.
We have this myth that the only way to learn something is read it in a textbook or hear a lecture on it, and the only way to show that we've understood something is to take a short answer test or maybe occasionally with an essay question thrown in. But that's nonsense. Everything can be taught in more than one way, and anything that's understood can be shown in more than one way. If you simply memorize a bunch of names and a bunch of facts and even a bunch of definitions, there's nothing to hold on to. If we all had exactly the same kind of mind and there was only one kind of intelligence, then we could teach everybody the same thing in the same way and assess them in the same way, and that would be fair. But once we realize that people have very different kinds of minds, different kinds of strengths, some people are good in thinking spatially, some people are good in thinking language, other people are very logical, other people need to do hands-on, they need to actually explore actively and to try things out. Once we realize that, then an education which treats everybody the same way is actually the most unfair education because it picks out one kind of mind, which I call the law professor mind, somebody who's very linguistic and logical, and says, if you think like that, great. If you don't think like that, there's no room in the train for you.
So I'm going to start with what I call the big 3 types of intelligences. As far as I'm concerned, these 3 types of ways of thinking, if you are smart in these 3 ways, you are very respected. I think that these are the most respected types of intelligences, not just in America, but in the world. And I think that people who primarily think in these 3 ways are the people who shaped the world to be that way, to hold these ways of thinking to such a high regard. So, logical and mathematical. You're good with numbers. You're good with reasoning. You can quantify things and you can make hypotheses and prove them. You're good at that sort of thing. So you would be a good statistician, computer analyst, scientist, or accountant. Spatial. Over here, you are good at thinking in 3 dimensions. That's mainly how you think. You think in 3 dimensions. You're picture smart. You can be a good architect, pilot, sculptor, painter, sailor, graphic designer, photographer. Linguistic. You're good with words. Now over here, you also need to be pretty good with memory because you memorize a lot of words. These types of people usually have a very, very high vocabulary, and they're very good at placing the words exactly where they need to be. So novelists are good at that. Media personalities and public speakers. Rappers are good with this. Lyricists, songwriters are good. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I do not believe that ADOS is primarily smart in these 3 areas. So I think that the majority of ADOS are not smart in these 3 areas, but in other ways. So there are 9 types of intelligences, and I believe that ADOS are more smart in the other 6 ways. Of course, there are exceptions, and not even exceptions, just basically ADOS has a smaller percentage of people who are smart in these 3 ways. How many of us are rappers? A lot of us, lyricists, you know? We're really good over here. Public speakers and things like that. Writers. Yeah, it's a lot of us. Seems like it, but still in the minority. So now I'm going to move on to the next 6 types of intelligences. Now here is where things start to look a little bit more familiar. Bodily kinesthetic. That goes without saying, right? We're known for being very good athletes. Dancers. You're body smart over here. You are graceful and coordinated when you're using a range of physical skills and manipulating objects. You have an exceptional mind-body union going on. And this involves a sense of timing and skills through the mid-body union. So you're used to thinking on the fly when it comes to moving your body. There's a fluidity there. You're body smart. Musical. A lot of us are in that industry. A lot of us are very good with music. We enjoy it. We're very in tune with music. So we're sound and music smart. Now, this would make you sensitive to sounds that most aren't aware of. You're able to recognize tone, rhythm, timbre, pitch, cadence, etc. when you're musically smart. So you can be obviously a musician, a vocalist, because that's basically an instrument. You have to be very aware of pitch and whatnot when it comes to that, or a composer. Intrapersonal, being self-smart. It's also known as spiritual and moral intelligence. You can be a writer, philosopher, spiritual leader, nutritionist, needing to know the body. We need so many more of these in our communities. And there are a lot of people who know how to eat well and treat the body well who are Black, but they're not putting stuff out there. And we need that education badly. So if you are good at that and you happen to be watching this video, please just put some stuff out, because we need you. Okay? And we need more therapists too. So interpersonal type of intelligence. You're people smart. You can be a teacher. I don't know about that. Okay? I don't. That's questionable. Actor, therapist, politician. You understand people, what they need, what they want. You understand how people work, how interpersonal relations work. And unfortunately, I honestly believe that these people, actors and politicians, they're on the psychopathic side because they're very manipulative with what they know about people. It's just an observation. Naturalistic, nature smart. These are people with green thumbs. These are people that understand the earth. They can be farmers, even though you can learn how to be a farmer. You don't have to be that in tune with the earth in order to farm, in my opinion. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people are. Botanist, geologist, wildlife instructor. I don't know where they get that from, really, because, it's dealing with animals. I suppose that's a part of nature, the natural order of the way things naturally work in the world. So I guess it's fitting. But yes, existential, life smart. You ask questions like, why are we here? You know about these sorts of things. People who are really smart over here, people who are smart in these two domains, actually, and over here, they tend to have a hard time in this society. Because again, these are like the woo-woo types of smart. People don't really respect it. People who are smart in these three domains are usually on the outskirts of society. Some become pariahs. They're not in the matrix, usually. And when you're not in the matrix, that's it. That's it for you in this society, especially when the big three types of intelligences dominate the society, dominate jobs. Very hard for you to have lucrative careers when you're here. I know you have these careers that pay well, that are written on this board, but for ADOS to make a lot of money in these careers, it's kind of a slim chance. And that just is what it is. So looking at all 9 of these types of intelligences, I'm stating my opinion on where I think ADOS falls, but think to yourself about, what do you think? What do you think about this? And let me know in the comment section.
Until Gardner acknowledged these other types of intelligences, scientists regarded most of them as mere, quote-unquote, soft skills. Like I said, till this day, the first 3 types of intelligences are the most respected and taken the most seriously. And intelligence tests, or IQ tests, they primarily measure those ways of thinking. So the IQ test. There are different types of IQ tests, but they all generally measure these 6 abilities: spatial, mathematical, language, storing and retrieving information, reasoning, and problem solving. I can see a couple of problems with that. How can someone who's not been in an environment to exercise these different abilities score well on an IQ test? You can't expect anyone who's never been exposed to certain things to automatically behave, think, or be that way. It can happen, but it shouldn't be expected. And this speaks to what Gardner was saying earlier. Also, how would the intelligence of ADOS be rated as a whole when the ADOS that have the big 3 types of intelligences, actually more like the first 2, are in the minority? How would ADOS score on an IQ test considering their type of intelligence is primarily in different areas than what's measured on the test? Here's a little bit of history regarding IQ tests and race. In the 1900s, IQ tests were used to identify what they called imbeciles, idiots, and the feeble-minded in America by eugenicists. I touched on this some in my ADOS Us video when I went down the American immigration timeline, so you can refer to that for more information on how that affected immigration. In 1927, the Supreme Court ruling Buck versus Bell legalized forced sterilizations of the supposed feeble-minded and over 65,000 people, mainly poor or of color, were sterilized. Around this time, feminist Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, which offers free gynecological and birth control services to primarily low-income people of color. It's free for the low-income people. She spoke at eugenics conferences and talked about birth control being used to, quote, facilitate the process of weeding out the unfit and of preventing the birth of defectives, unquote. She also said, quote, those least fit to carry on the race are increasing most rapidly. People who cannot support their own offspring are encouraged by church and state to produce large families. Most of the children are feeble-minded. Many become criminals. Funds that should be used to raise the standard of our civilization are diverted to the maintenance of those who should have never been born, unquote. That's really powerful. Look at the state of certain people in this country. Unfortunately, there's a small amount of truth to her statement, but I'm wondering if she gave serious consideration to slavery, centuries of psychological abuse, systemic systems of discrimination and racism, ongoing propaganda working against these people, harmful conditioning methods used to brainwash these people, and overall, their entire history everywhere, not just America. She probably didn't, like most people don't. She belongs to a certain group of people that tend to believe what they want to believe, no matter what, about other people who are not like them. In a 1922 book titled A Study of American Intelligence, psychologist Carl Brigham of Princeton University said that, quote, American intelligence was declining due to immigration and racial integration, unquote. And a few years before, another American psychologist, Louis Turnman, said this, quote, high-grade or borderline deficiency is very, very common among Spanish, Indian, and Mexican families of the Southwest, and also among Negroes. Their dullness seems to be racial, or at least inherent in the family stocks from which they come. They cannot master abstractions, but they can often be made into efficient workers. From a eugenic point of view, they constitute a grave problem because of their unusually prolific breeding, unquote. It just makes me think, if they were so serious about the preservation of their race back then, why didn't America's immigration policy reflect that? And I'll have a link in the description of a piece about the 1994 book, The Bell Curve, which was very controversial back then. It still is. And there you'll get a breakdown of the mindset of eugenicists and how they feel about the Negroes and non-whites. So this, again, was made in 1994. It was not too long ago. But overall, these people were right. The people that did not have their same genes and were not native to where they originated from, they were different from them, and they did think differently from them. Where these people are originally from, they thought and lived simply, and they generally planned things as the days went by. This doesn't mean they were stupid, they just led a simpler life, enjoying the resources that their land provided them, enjoying each other, and working together to maintain what they had, with no ongoing interest in making it better or the greatest. And they were unconcerned with exploration because they were happy with how they lived and with what they had. And they lived by be fruitful and multiply, which explains their unusually prolific breeding. This sounds primitive, and it is. No doubt about that, but it's not necessarily bad. The people weren't dumb. There was just no need to think in certain ways because the demand for that type of intelligence did not yet exist. This is how simple life was before certain people changed that natural order. And there might be an explanation for this. Here's a closer look at our brains and how it dictates motivation, how we think, learn, work, and relate.
Here's where it all comes together. The left side of the brain versus the right side of the brain functioning. This is a head. This is the top of a head. So the left side of the brain deals with logic, analytical thought, structure and sequence, memory, language and grammar, number skills, and problem solving. If you're left brain dominant, the way that you process information, the way that you think, the things that you do is all influenced by how this side of the brain works. So that means that your capabilities would primarily be these ways of thinking. The same for being right brain dominant. So you would mainly, or you would have a large amount of intuition, creativity, imagination, expression, feelings, emotional intelligence, art and music, holistic thought, and rhythm. Now think about the 9 types of intelligences in relation to how the different sides of the brain works. Which types of intelligences involve these ways of thinking? So over here on the left side, you have crystallized intelligence. Now, crystallized intelligence, think of a crystal, something hard, right? Something that doesn't budge, something rigid. Rigidity, things that are stable, things that don't move, things that, are not sporadic. That's over here on the left side. These types of people are education dependent. So that means that everything in their brains comes from something that they learned from someone else, something that they learned before. Okay, trying to get this together here. Over here on the left side, what you know is based off of facts. Things that were proven, facts, something you read in a book, something that, I guess someone that you trust enough, something that they told you, something that you learned from somewhere else, past experiences. So you saw it yourself, you experienced it yourself. Now, over here, people tend to be atheists. They don't believe that God exists. I'm not saying it's good nor bad. It is what it is. And it makes sense because of how your brain works on this side. You haven't seen God before. You haven't learned God. You can learn about God in holy books, but still, you've never seen him. You don't have any past experiences. You don't know what God looks like because God is not a being. He's not in human form, right? So they're just going off of what they've been taught. They don't have really intuition or imagination and things like that you would need to really believe that a deity exists. A deity like God. There are some deities that are mortal, I guess. So fluid intelligence. Think about fluidity, rhythm. Over here, you have a minimal dependence on school learning. So you don't need to be taught necessarily to know how to do something. You can intuitively know how to do it. I don't know if the top is cut off. I hope it's not. So sometimes you can pick up a book and teach yourself something to strengthen what it is that you already intuitively know how to do. But for the most part, you can just learn things just because you have that ability. You can learn new procedures and behaviors. So you have the ability to think on the fly. You have the ability to go on the flow, fluidity, rhythm. Think about kinesthetic intelligence. This is where this comes into play. Moving your body in ways you didn't learn. It just comes naturally. Okay? You could be, on the right side, you could be, if your brain works primarily on the side, you'd make a good counselor, nutritionist, casino dealer, which I thought was interesting. But I get it. You have to make decisions on the fly. You have to work with the cards. It's not necessarily something that is you can be sure about, tried and true. Machine operator. You're in charge of people's lives with that one. You have to make some quick decisions sometimes. Otherwise, people could die. So you have to have that capability, that fluidity and intuition. Over here on the left side, you'd make a good doctor, scientist, engineer, accountant, lawyer, computer programmer, IT. I call everybody that deals with computers IT. But over here, yes, you would make a good one of those careers. Now, I'm going to set this down. Now, this girl, Yuen from Love Island, right? I hate to bring that up while I'm giving this lesson because I really want to try to remain objective, but there are some things that I want to point out. This girl, Yuen, was the beautiful scientist, right? And she didn't get chosen, and there was, controversy about that in the colorism community. And they're saying that it was her skin. Listen, think about it. Is the doctor, the scientist, the engineer, the IT guy, the accountant, are they known for being very good socially? Again, recall the 9 different types of intelligences. Think about interpersonal types of intelligence. From my experience, that type of intelligence, people who are left brain dominant, it's lacking over there, which means that you might struggle with interpersonal relationships. You might struggle with attracting people, being attractive. Now, people who are right brain dominant are usually very good at that. She was a scientist. Maybe, just maybe, there wasn't enough fluidity. Maybe there was some rigidity with the personality, with the way that she did things, spoke. Who knows? I don't know. I don't have a problem with saying I don't know, but I'm just making connections. Another thing that I noticed, I used to think that all ADOS could dance, like that was an ADOS thing. Not necessarily true. A lot of us can, but not all of us, especially those of us who are in the minority, who are left brain dominant. The thing is, it seems like all of us because most of us have these right brain capabilities. But like I said in my very first video about ADOS, the best is to be balanced. Not dominant in either area. What they call the elites, Black people that come to America or that migrate out of their countries, I find that they are over here. They're called the elites because they mainly have these careers. Scientist, engineer, lawyer, IT. They're usually left brain dominant, and they leave behind, in their native countries, they leave behind people who don't have those big 3 types of intelligences. People who are more over here and can't necessarily, or they struggle with, thinking their way out of their situation.
I find that there's a trend with left brain dominant types. I'd love to go in depth about the psychology and the personality of these kinds of people, maybe another time. But to succinctly summarize it, these types, 1, seem to be perpetually dissatisfied with what they have and they always want better. They usually choose to leave their situation no matter how needed they are in pursuit of this. 2, they project their opinions onto others. 3, they are perpetually in pursuit of the better to use for self-gain. 4, they feel that they and everything that reflects their image is superior. 5, they feel that anyone not like them is inferior so strongly that altering other people's lives in the ways that they see fit is justifiable. And 6, they don't care about the consequences of disrupting natural order. They don't seem to be natural helpers or givers. And again, they're driven by self-interests. I elaborate on this in my Black People Need to Make a Choice video. Also, people on the left are often at odds with people on the right side. And I think a part of this is because over there on the right, these people have superior social skills and are thus more attractive and successful in the mating /dating/social department. So to break it down further, when these people on the right get attention or success, again, it's due to their social skills and other right brain abilities why they get this attention. The left feels they're undeserving of that attention because they think of themselves as the smartest and the best. So they feel, why are those idiots getting the attention that I deserve for my intellect? They only value their type of intelligence. Remember how the scientists felt about all of the other intellectual capabilities. They were mere soft skills to them. It looks like for a long time, too, that the people on the left generally felt like the people on the right didn't deserve to live. Look at this comment here. He's not lying. Today, there are more people than ever who are left brain dominant, and it's steadily increasing. It's actually increasing at the same rates of narcissistic personalities and people with autism spectrum disorder, especially people with high functioning autism, formerly known as Asperger's syndrome. Could there be a connection? And the job market is also affected by this. Job market trends have changed to reflect and accommodate the influx of left brain dominant people. And these people created jobs for themselves via technology and all of the other ways that their brains work most efficiently. So they created their own job security. They made it so that society is dependent on their services now, actually, with the proliferation of smartphones and other technology. We depend on that technology to get the things that we need, not just things we want. Job seekers also have to consider that there's limited face-to-face interaction today. And unfortunately, for good candidates who lack high degrees or extensive experience, only the best resumes are chosen when you apply online. Actually, you kind of have to know somebody on the inside to get hooked up with a job. That's more so how it works today. So this speaks to education now, though. Left brain dominant people are usually highly formally educated, and the others are not. You would have to compete with that. And in the near future, lots of non-tech and customer service type jobs, they'll be replaced by artificial intelligence. Your interview may even be done with AI. So you would need something solid to fall back on to get a job. So with that said, ADOS, you have the lowest levels of left brain dominance in your racial group. Education is extremely important for you. Formal education, classroom, where you get the paper at the end. For the following reasons. 1, you're either competing with natives and immigrants who have degrees, or because of their status in this country, they have hookups. So you don't have it like they do. 2, you need formal education because you learn more that way. Knowledge is power. 3, you won't have the motivation or desire to teach yourself certain things. You can't teach yourself everything, and your environment won't teach you everything that you need to know. And school forces you to learn and practice it. Again, the more you know, the better. 4, This is my opinion, but I think the academic environment is inspiring, and it's clean, and it's healthy for some of us. It's a refreshing break from a dysfunctional atmosphere. So maybe you might benefit from that too. And 5, lastly, being in school opens your opportunities for networking with the right people who can get you places. It's time to start taking advantage of the opportunities available to you, ADOS. Times are changing, and they're changing fast. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next one.